really means to live life golden. Yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden. They're about to see it shine, 'cause we're golden.
What's going on, everybody? Mike here. Thank you very much for joining. This is a pretty interesting idea. This is called GlobaTalent, and basically it is a way how to circumvent sports agents and to help athletes meet their goals and dreams and desires. Very unique, and I'll be talking about it. There's a couple of things that you need to be aware of that I think are okay so long as you know about them. So let's jump into it. So in general, this project is about funding athletes. So for example, you have an amateur athlete and they're quite young or early in their career and they want to go pro. Well, what you basically do is you fund them and sponsor them, and in exchange for that, they give you some of their rights to future proceeds, profits, and other winnings, earnings from their pro athlete career.
Meet John. He's an athlete with great talent, but to achieve his sporting dream, he needs money that he just doesn't have. John doesn't want to quit his sports career and give up on his dreams and not fulfill his potential.
Basically,
then one of his
sports
friends tells
teams,
him about
agents,
GlobaTalent,
and other
a
people within
blockchain
the
platform
space
where he can tokenize
do this
himself
all the time.
by selling his future revenue
However,
streams, by
the problem
allowing
is
supporters
that
from
a lot
around
of
the
these
world
people
to
don't provide
invest
value
in the
and
future
don't
of
really
both
care too
promising
much
and
about the
established
athlete, and then
athletes.
some just
He
take
opens
way
an
too much
account on
money.
GlobaTalent, and
So
in doing so
there's
builds a
a way
community of
for you to
supporters,
actually
allowing them
support
to buy his
people that
token.
you like.
And in
One
return, he
example
promises to share a
would
percentage
be
of his future income
if you had
proportionally
a
with all token
guy who was well
holders.
known in your local
All
community
initial
and you
Globa
liked him,
token
he was a
holders
good
will
guy,
also receive a
working
share
very
of all
hard,
new
very
issued
athletic, very
tokens,
good at
and can
whatever
also invest
sport
directly into
he
athlete
plays.
tokens.
You can
GlobaTalent
fund
is a
him
decentralized
for
and
specific
transparent
competitions
marketplace where
or
investors and
tournaments
fans
or
can
whatever,
invest in clubs or
and
players
when
and obtain
this
returns
person
by
becomes a
buying and
professional,
selling future
you can
benefits
get rights
guaranteed by their
to
image
their
rights,
annual income
sports transfers,
or
prize money,
other
payroll, ticketing,
proceeds.
TV
So for example, if they have a
contracts, or
sports
any other
jersey
income that they will
that
receive.
they make in cooperation
GlobaTalent
with,
will
I don't know,
reduce
Nike
costs to buy
or
new
whatever,
players' rights, as they will not need to work with
you can get the
conditions of
proceeds to that,
investment funds or
for
other
example, right?
intermediaries.
There's a lot of
Fans
other
from all
options
over
there.
the world will be able to invest even
Before
small
going into
amounts
the
of
white
money in their
paper,
clubs or
I'll tell you this,
athletes.
I've already talked with the CEO a couple of times. He seems like a nice guy. Got a lot of experience in sports field. There were large pre-sale investors. However, very important to note, there was a vesting period. I talked with the CEO, Sunil, and there's a vesting period. So these investors are not allowed, not able to dump these tokens on the secondary market immediately. So they have to wait in order to do that. Before jumping into the white paper and discussing some things, you can go to the Telegram and or just search it GlobaTalent. You can see in the lower left. It's also going to be below the video, and you can go and ask questions yourselves. The link to the white paper is also going to be below the video, so we'll just click that, and it says that you have to submit your email, but I have a link to it, so it's going to be below the video. So let's get to the white paper. So we are looking at the GlobaTalent white paper here, and you can see the pages. So we're just going to go through it. It's going to be linked below in the description, and I just want to address these things so that you can actually see them for yourself, and then you can go in depth and check out the white paper for yourself. So here it talks about the challenge, and we'll see here. In soccer, an example of this existing problem is that investment funds have lent money to some clubs to purchase sporting rights of players over the last years. They usually lend the club any amount of money at a high interest, and they also keep a 30% minimum of the future player's rights, a minimum of 30%, when the club sells the player to another club. The investment fund gets its 30% of the total amount and also the interest of the total amount borrowed. It's a huge amount. The ethics of these investments funds have been considered controversial because they sometimes force the club to sell the player only because they want to recover their investment sooner, even if it is not a good club decision. Very, very weird situation there, if you ask me. So the solution that they want to do is basically here. An example of an athlete who is able to connect with fans and financial requirements. Lenny is 18, a young professional driver on the rise. He just came in third at a race in Nürburgring, also having made it to other podium positions during the season. However, he still can't afford to hire a personal manager, and he is not well known enough to attract sponsors. Lenny and his family are struggling to finance his training, nutrition, travel, and accommodation costs. Costs are increasing as his career evolves, while funds to support him basically remain the same. Lenny has calculated that his annual costs for optimal racing campaign are approximately $150,000. After analyzing his career, he determines that within 4 years, his race driver career will improve to the point where he would be able to have major corporate sponsors support and fund his own running costs. Lenny then decides he will offer 25% of all his future sponsorship proceeds received within the next 15 years in exchange for a $500,000 investment on him, on his career, on his potential talent. He opens a personal account on the GlobaTalent platform, setting the investment goal at $500,000 and marking the predetermined option to offer 25% of future sponsorship proceeds in exchange for an upfront investment of $500,000. Due to his good track record, professionalism, and dedication, investors are aware of his potential. Within 6 months, Lenny is able to reach the full investment goal of $500,000, contributed by 1,659 investors. He pockets 357,143 GlobaTalent tokens. The value of one GBT token at the moment is $1.40 USD. As the GBT token is liquid cashable on several exchanges, he is able to sell them at the market price of $1.40, and within 4 days he receives the amount approximately $500,000 in his bank account. He will now be able to focus on his training and stop worrying about finances. At the age of 21, Lenny manages to reach Williams' F1 team, and by the end of the season, his points ranked him as 6th in the F1 Drivers' Championship. He then signs a sponsorship agreement with major sunglasses and wristwatch company, based on which Lenny is entitled to $2.5 million annually for 5 years. Since young Lenny signed a talent contract with his investors, Lenny is required to transfer 25% of this sponsorship money to them. Investors get $625,000 each year, which means their initial investment is repaid within the first year after Lenny signs the sponsorship agreement, and each year after that is pure profit. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. You get to, if you're a sports fan, some people like this, some people don't. This allows you to fund athletes that you like up front in exchange for their future rights. Now, you'll notice a couple of things. Number one, 25